Hello, we're introducing our thriller opening idea from Zach, Janet and I.
Our idea, we decided to go with Janeth's idea for our thriller opening because we believe that it will leave the audience on the edge of their seat for the duration of the opening, which is good for a thriller. Looking at the results from the surveys from Gavin and I, we can see that the one thing people enjoy most about thrillers is the build-up of suspense. Therefore, we decided to go with Janeth's idea because we felt it would build up suspense the best.
The characters in our thriller opening, we were thinking a woman and a man, and the props needed for our thriller opening would be a knife, a chair, tape, etc. In order to make our opening as dramatic as possible, we would need dark lighting. Because if we need bright lighting, it wouldn't have the same effect as dark lighting. We'll be using different levels of low-key lighting that create suspense or a mysterious atmosphere. We will be using low-level lighting to create the shadow, and this will ultimately create tension and fear. The black and white colouring increases the effectiveness of the shadow, as you will see the shadow, and then it will bring the viewers into where the shadow is actually going.
I'm just gonna go through the plot really quick. The idea is sort of you're looking at it from a first person's view, so there's no over the shoulder shots or anything. Like you're actually the person there looking at this place, and it's sort of the location is sort of you can't really make out what it is. It just looks really dark, so silhouette shadows, like you don't know where it is. But you see, it starts off with the camera panning side to side, and like when the camera pans back into the middle, you see a person or a shadow walking past, and he's dragging along something, a weapon that looks like, you don't know what it is because it's a shadow. He's dragging that along, and then it cuts to a shot of a woman tied up or taped up to a chair, and she's got scars on her face. She's looking really worried, upset, like she's been abused. And so as the man walks towards the woman, she starts screaming, or not exactly screaming because she's taped up, she's sort of like, just making loud noises. And it will sort of end with, the last bit was, so you're actually the person who, you don't know who you are, but you're behind this man and you're watching him do this, and it cuts with sort of the man swinging the weapon at the woman, and she starts to scream, and it cuts then to a black screen, and you can still hear the echoing of her shouting, and then that's when the title will come up.
And this will help the audience be engaged in the film, as they don't know if he's actually killed her, and it brings them in to want to know what happens next.
Our ideas, obviously like Janeth said, the opening will be in first person the whole time with no over the shoulder shots. In the first shot, the camera will pan side to side in a dark location. As the camera pans back to the middle, a shadow of a person who is walking past with a weapon that looks like a knife will engage with the audience. This will give the audience an idea about what the rest of the film will be about.
So why our opening is not an ordinary one, but a great one. The opening scene will take place in an apartment or an abandoned house of some sort. The audience won't really know where it is. The shadow at the beginning will bring about around suspense to the viewers' eyes due to the high intense and non-diegetic sound of the intense music. The opening scene will be highly intense to drag the viewers in and keep them on the edge of their seats, however not giving too much away, so the audience can question what happens later in the film, just like all good thrillers films do. From our questionnaire, we found out that viewers of thriller films like high suspense with an interesting plot. This immediately drags the viewers in and questions them. Why is there someone looking to kill? Who is the shadowed person? And yeah. Also, sound is very important in films as it creates an understanding of the narrative and atmosphere for the audience. Our thriller opening will be cautiously use sound, as it will need to create suspense and anxiety throughout the opening to keep viewers engaged immediately and question what will happen next. We will also engage in both diegetic and non-diegetic sound. The diegetic sound will be used to create a realistic effect such as heavy breathing when extremely vulnerable and nervous, and this will increasingly drag the audience in to why she's actually in this situation. The non-diegetic sound will be used to create sound effect and build suspense and tension, such as the music in the background, and it will increasingly bring around suspense. Sound will be very important in our thriller opening, as it will help to create a more of an understanding of the narrative and genre. That was the end of our...
If you've got any questions or feedback, you can ask us now.
Shane.
You mentioned like the opening plot, but do you have like an overview of like what the whole thing would be like
We've got an
about?
overview, but don't like. There's not a point of giving it away because we're working on a thriller opening, so we're focusing on the opening itself.
Yeah, we don't really want to give away too much, so we want to have enough in the opening to bring around suspense, so the audience will
Just keep them thinking.
yeah, keep them thinking on the edge of their seats, but we don't want to give too much away since it's an opening, so it gives an overview of just of the opening and gives an overview of what we'll bring around throughout the film. David?
How easy would it be to actually find the location of an abandoned house? Have you already found one?
Well, thing is, as I said, I never said it could be, well, to the viewer, you could think it's an abandoned house or anywhere, but as I said, it's a dark location, you can't make out where it is, so it'll be easy to find.
I kind of like the lighting and the concept of how you use the shadows to affect the audience. I was wondering if you considered a title for your...
It's called Closed Doors.
David?
You said your filming is all going to be from like a first-person view. Is that going to be for the entire opening, or are you going to alternate between establishing views?
Yeah.
The title.
We were thinking about alternating it as well, so it brings around different camera angles to add a bit more.
Yeah, we
but-
thought of the person actually moving about.
But we have like a lot of, so it looks like we're following the action with just following.
It's more immersive.
Yeah.
They-
Aiden.
Would that be for the first person? Would you use like a handheld camera?
Yeah, it would, yeah. Shane.
Have you thought about the age certificate?
Yeah, we were saying 15 because with our questionnaires we found out that most of the people who answered them were aged 15 to about most of them 13 to about 15, 16, 17. So we put it around that age gap, and if it was like 12, we wouldn't be able to bring around enough detail in like maybe a bit of the gory scenes, but we wouldn't have a lot of that, and 18 would reduce the amount of young teenagers who actually are involved in thrillers, so 15 I think would be the most perfect suitable age. David?
Why did you choose that title? Is there some significance to it, or?
Well, you understand more if you actually saw because where it's taking place, this and that. Like once you see the extract, it will sort of give you a slight hint, but like it won't make. It will give you a hint of what we're talking about once you actually see the extract.
So closed door, the idea that the audience is thinking, what door is closed, why is it closed, is it going to open, that kind of...
Yeah, again, the title just questions the audience and maybe entices them to want to know why is it called Closed Doors? Is there a sense of trap? Is the characters trapped in or something, and why? What's happening?
Well,
So-
in the extract, the woman is
The open.
trapped in the room or wherever she is, so there's doors involved there.
Have you considered a font or like, and what sort of colours are going to use to give the effect of like, is this a
Colours mainly black and red.
Yeah, because red brings around danger, so you don't know what's going to happen next.
Black is suspense.
And that would, again, bring the audience in as the visuals.
Fun. To be honest with you, we haven't looked at that.
I think the title, if you made it to be deliberately ambiguous, it's good because you don't know whether it's, do we know what's happening behind these closed doors, or is or has a door closed on one of the characters? So I think that's really good. But did you wrestle with any other ideas for a title?
Yeah, we interviewed a few people, different age groups. We gave them a list of titles and asked their opinions. on British titles, and Closed Doors was the one that came up the most, and that's why we chose that title. And all the titles we put down were to do with the extra.
Yeah, questioned them the most about why it was called Closed Doors, and that really brought the people who we interviewed with different age groups in, and as there was a collective different between 15 and older, as there was a collective, most of them chose Closed Doors, so obviously that engaged them in what could happen, so that would bring them in to watch our film.
From your pitch, it sounds as though the two elements that you really want to manipulate to create your suspense is sound and lighting. You talked a lot about creating lighting and shadows. Have you thought about how you're going to control the lighting? It's a very fine line between creating shadow and creating a screen that's so dark that an audience can't see anything. So it can be fantastic, but it takes a lot of forward planning and really thinking it through technically. Have you thought of, at this stage, have you thought yet about how you would control the lighting to create the effect you want without just having a screen that we can't see anything on?
The dark lighting would just be on the background, so like the characters' faces and sort of sight would be the only things you sort of see. Everything else would be pretty dark. So I wouldn't say it's exactly a shadow, it's more low-key lighting.
Are you planning to do a lot of experimentation beforehand to sort of see which lighting's
see which
most
one's
effective?
Most effective, and the shadows, as you said, it's a fine measure, but if we can get that right, it brings around a lot of suspense about who that person is. So if we can get the shadow of the person, the audience will be really engaged to what's going to happen next, and this will bring the audience in, and to follow the shadow, to see it, they'll just be really intrigued,
Yeah.
and that's what all great film thriller openings do, so that's what we're looking to do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for the